This is a big week ahead, maybe the biggest week of the month because we just have so much going on. I highly recommend checking out my TikTok video I did for this week ahead. That's linked in the description. I'll also link it in the comments after the video is done. And if you'd rather read it, the written version lives in my inner circle. I also send out the written version every Sunday before I go live on here to my email list. So sign up for my emails if you want the weekly updates in written form. And there's a lot going on this week. My TikTok video was literally like 5 minutes long. But I use my crystal astrology board. So those videos are so much fun and it gives you a visual to see what's going on using a cool astro board and crystals that I bought from someone called Sowillow Moon. SowillowMoonshop.com is their website if you want to purchase an astrology board as well. But anyways, all that aside, this is a huge week, so I'm really excited to dive into the horoscopes for this week because like the title says, I really feel like there's going to be big changes and deep clarity this week, just how everything is lining up. We're going to have Mars moving into Leo. Finally, Mars leaves Cancer and moves back into Leo. But it will be opposite Pluto and it will be squaring the sun in Taurus as Taurus season begins. So there's a lot going on. We're going to have a lot of harmony between Mars before it moves into Leo and all that's in Pisces. We're going to have Mercury move back into Aries and conjunct Neptune. So there's a lot going on. So let's get into the weekly horoscopes. We're going to start with Aries as always. I go in zodiac order for these videos. Okay. So for Aries rising, this is a big ending of a cycle, a completion of maybe a spiritual path or pursuit. We're going to start the week off on Monday with the moon in your eighth house. So there might be some massive transformation that you're getting emotional clarity around. There might be something within your subconscious that you've been healing that you're going to take action around to really integrate and embody a new version of yourself earlier in the week. And then there could be a big breakthrough around that on Tuesday. When the moon moves into Sagittarius on Wednesday, you might be feeling this big rejuvenation of yourself, of your philosophies of life, getting clarity on just your viewpoints, your perspective, maybe an international traveling trip if that resonates, or investing in a course or some sort of like higher education to learn a new skill related to like what you've gotten clarity around, right? So that could come on Wednesday. And then Thursday, there might be some tension and friction between, how you're acting on that and your communication style, or just there might be like friction between where you're going on a daily basis versus a trip you want to take or something like that. And then Friday is really the real big day as we have Mars moving into your fifth house. So there might be a renewal of creativity. It's harmonizing with Mercury and Neptune in your first house. So you really might, this whole week is like a buildup of rejuvenation of the self. You might be getting a lot more clarity as well around your spiritual practices or like healing some past life thing or getting clarity around something that was hidden from you, but now you're seeing more clearly on how to move forward on it and how to act in alignment with like this new beginning that you're embarking on. The weekend has you focused on your career as the moon moves through your 10th house. There might be some friction there between your sense of self as well. That comes up. There's some big transformation too happening around all of this that's impacting your long-term goals and visions that you might have been really reevaluating since Pluto moved into Aquarius like 2 years ago. Um, and then Mars being opposite Pluto might trigger this major transformation there in terms of a creative passion, a pursuit or project, something like that. And then Taurus season begins and puts the focus on your area of money. So you might be reevaluating finances or getting more clarity about how, you want to make more money and through what you're doing in your career, stuff like that might come through later as we get on into the weekend. You might get more clarity through that frustration or through the challenges that came up earlier in the week about how you want to move forward in a new way with your finances, with your career, maybe even with like eating habits or anything like that. So that is the week for you, Aries. Okay, Taurus Rising. We start the week off with the moon in your seventh house. So you might be focused on relationships the first couple days of the week. There might have been some big breakthrough or transformation there, meeting somebody through your career or a networking thing or just an opportunity coming through in your career that maybe you've been like working on or wanting to get clarity around. Now that Venus and Mercury are direct, there is that uh, energy to want to move forward towards some new vision you've had, maybe a creative vision or pursuit or something like that. There's also a lot of like spiritual healing happening for you, Taurus. Whether it's like you looking at blocks or subconscious wounds you didn't realize were there and like really focused on clearing them, maybe related to your communication style or some family thing or something to do with your sibling or family member or something like that. There could be a lot of healing as well happening between those two areas this week. And then on Tuesday, there might be some friction between your sense of self, you, your identity, and a relationship or somebody else in your life. Wednesday, as the moon moves into your eighth house, there could be just a look at your financial situation, your financial situation, your finances, your money, reevaluating stuff there. You're really in this expansive time as it relates to like your possessions and your finances. So there might be something that comes through on an emotional level that gives you clarity about how to move forward with that or how to really like have the expansion you've been wanting in your money and your finances that might be related to this creative project or venture, related to maybe your long-term visions and goals as well. That might come to a head on Thursday, bring you that clarity through some sort of tension or friction, or issue that comes up. Then on Friday, you're going to have the moon harmonizing with the sun in your 12th house. So this could bring a big breakthrough or clarity around some subconscious wound or block um, that's been illuminated over the past week or so. Like it feels like all of this has been building all week, and then as we get to the end of the week, it's kind of like a relief, kind of like oh, the clarity is here. Um, and then you're maybe going to be taking action towards that as well when Mars enters Leo, goes into your fourth house, and opposes Pluto in your 10th house. So there could be some breakthrough that you get clarity around and you bring it into your career in some way of like, oh, I've been really dealing with this, this wound or whatever, and now I want to help others with it, or I want to make it more of a focus in my career, that allows for some clarity, that allows for some harmonization between you, that long-term vision that you've been getting clarity around. Then on Saturday, the focus is going to be on your pursuits of education, or your philosophies of life, your perspective as the moon moves into Capricorn in your ninth house. There might also be friction between, that there might be another thing that comes up later on Friday around what you've been healing in your subconscious. It might trigger some sort of like clarity or breakthrough or maybe even some emotional like needing to cry session or grieve something on Friday, and then on Saturday it's kind of like you get more clarity about how that's changing your perspective and really your identity and sense of self too, Taurus. Then on later on Saturday, Taurus season begins. The sun moves into your first house. It's like a rejuvenation energy. You might even like get that rejuvenation or get support or help around this stuff from other people in your life, whether it's a significant other or a friend or someone new that you're connecting with or something like that. It could just be someone in your life is really bringing you the support you need in order to further heal whatever this is that's been coming up for you. And then there could be a big shift around that on Sunday as well. So that is the week for you, Taurus. Okay, Gemini Rising. We start the week off on Monday with the moon in your sixth house. So you might be really focused on building something new in your work, or just, kind of putting more energy there, putting more focus there on Monday, especially on Tuesday. There could be a big shift around that of like you suddenly get clarity about how you want to show up in your work or what you want to do on a daily basis to take care of yourself and nurturing yourself and your work. And then big focus. I mean, this has been going on for you for a while, Gemini, is there's a big focus and emphasis on your career and what you're building there, who you're collaborating with, what you're creating, how you're putting it out into the world. Massive focus there and really changing your relationship maybe too with social media or a community, building a community around healing, around spiritual gifts. Huge focus that's going to kind of come to a head this week of realization of like how you want to go about it, or maybe making some changes to it if you were refining stuff and reevaluating how you had been going about it during the retrograde periods. Now this time is about implementing, and this week is really going to be a buildup of that implementation. um, Wednesday, the moon is going to move into your seventh house. So there could be a focus on your relationships, like I said, building community, or having support through your significant other or just other people in your life that are going to help you with this career venture in whatever way. There could be some friction or tension around that on Thursday, as there's an opposition between the moon and Jupiter in your first and seventh houses. So there could be something that kind of challenges you, your identity, your sense of self that comes in through another person. This could be like a harsh criticism that someone has of you, and it's just kind of about not taking it personally, or let it affect your work or what you're doing in your career. Then on Friday, the moon moves into your eighth house. You could be getting a big like spiritual awakening or just a big high-end intuition sense that benefits your career on Friday, and maybe even like through the weekend. There could be some big transformation around that, especially as and how you're sharing yourself and your intuitive gifts, especially as Mars moves into your third house and opposes Pluto for the final time. So, what was coming up end of November, early December, in this area of your life with your day-to-day errands, your communication, how you're sharing yourself and your ideas. It could directly benefit, like I said, your career. I mean, that's just a really big focus for you this week, Gemini, is how are you turning shit into gold, basically, and like using all of this as fuel to build this career venture. Saturday, we have the beginning of Taurus season, which will put a focus on your spirituality again in your 12th house and how you're sharing that with the world, how you're sharing your intuitive gifts. There could be a big, even closing out of a cycle during Taurus season. And as we get into Gemini season, it could feel like a really big rejuvenation around yourself. Um, but it feels like there might be, you're still being called in your career to do things, in your community to do things, and put yourself out there in various ways. But there could also be that need to hermit a little bit and have a sense of balance with that. So that is the week for you, Gemini. Okay, Cancer. We start the week off on Monday with the moon in your fifth house. This could be feeling like a really creative couple days to start the week off. There could have been a really big shift within your creativity or a passion project or something like that, on Sunday, and that is getting, amplified on Monday, or there's just more clarity around that on Monday. You could be, Cancer, also like doing a lot of long distance travel right now, and you're getting clarity through that in whatever ways, whether it's just to like have the time where you're on the plane or you're in the car or whatever, and you're doing this travel and you're getting clarity through that stillness that can bring, or that just transitional energy that can bring. I feel like you're doing a lot of clearing through your travels. There's also a big focus on healing any wounds in your career about a new project or a new venture, starting something new, maybe self-doubt, and really working through that. There could be a big breakthrough around that on Tuesday as the moon opposes Uranus in your fifth and 11th houses. There could be some breakthrough or innovation that comes around how you want to take action on this new creative venture that you maybe had self-doubt around, kind of thing. You might even be investing in some education or course or something like that to help you with this new career venture. And you just get kind of a sudden clarity and insight that you need to do it, and just have faith and act from faith about it. And then on Wednesday, the moon moves into your sixth house into Sagittarius. So this could also just put that emphasis on your work, what you're doing on a daily basis for work, maybe also how you're taking care of your body, nurturing yourself, as well as your work on a daily basis. There could be something on Thursday that brings that to a head. Maybe something that feels really frustrating or challenging, but it helps you to realize like what the changes you want to make, and gives you more clarity around that. And then on Friday, we have Mars moving into your second house, and we have the moon moving into your seventh house. So there could be some like connections in your life that bring you support that you need to like feel the courage and bravery to act on this new thing, whatever it is. But I feel like it is going to be something that is positive for your finances, as Mars is going to be moving through your second house for 2 months. There's a lot of positive energy towards, if you're taking inspired action and acting from bravery and courage and doing something that really is a passion and is really fun and joyful for you, you're going to make money from it. So it's kind of like, whether this is a side hustle that you're starting or it's a new career that you're starting, like it's gonna pay off really well and support what you already have been doing, or just support where you want to go in terms of this new direction. And you're like, this week is really building up a lot of clarity to have around that, to feel the energy to act on it. On Saturday, we have Taurus season beginning. That will put the focus on your 11th house, building community, having those supportive friendships and connections around you. There will also be a focus during Taurus season on your maybe building a social media presence or building a community in whatever way, or just getting clarity around your long-term goals and your long-term visions and like what you want this thing to be for you. And then on Sunday, there could be just a breakthrough around that as well, as the moon harmonizes with Uranus. Could come through somebody in your life, actually. So let me know how that resonates with you, Cancer. And I'll see you next week. Okay, Leo. We start the week off with the moon in your fourth house. There could be a big focus on your home, on your family, or healing anything that's subconscious. I mean, I feel like that's been the big theme of these retrogrades, especially as they went back into Pisces, is healing any subconscious wounds. Like you're really in this big time right now of transformation, Leo, and that could really come to a head and be amplified on Tuesday as we have this grand trine and water and all of your houses that are traditionally ruled by water, like they really rule like the subconscious and what's underneath the surface and childhood wounds and things like that. So there could be a lot of clarity early in the week for you around that, Leo, that really brings about some positive healing for you, and maybe even changes your perspective of life or your philosophies of life. It changes how you see the world. And then on Wednesday, the moon moves into your fifth house, into Sagittarius. There could be a real creative boost on Wednesday and Thursday, that you're just feeling inspired to create. You're feeling inspired to maybe teach or share your knowledge or wisdom in various ways, maybe even on social media. That could come up on Thursday as the moon is opposite Jupiter in your 11th house. There could be just some tension that's like, you make a video to put out on social media and it like gets deleted or something, and so you're like, okay, well, that sucks, but maybe I was meant to say this in a different way and just be a little bit more strategic about how I share this information and this knowledge. There could be something like that that happens that like may frustrate you about this creative pursuit or passion or whatever it is, but ultimately it will be positive. I mean, there's so much harmony, but like right now between your intuition and sharing it with the world. And you're going to feel this rejuvenation of that as Mars moves into Leo in your first house. It's like a rejuvenation of the self. And this could come through a supportive person in your life, whether it's your significant other or a friend or something like that. Some relationship could really support you in feeling this way as well and embarking on this transformation. And then on Saturday, the sun moves into your 10th house. So Taurus season is going to be really good for your career, Leo. There could be some just challenges or conflicts at the beginning, like just kind of ironing out kinks or anything like that. Maybe that shows up in your home life, or maybe you have support in your home life that allows you to work through these challenges or conflicts. In your sense of self, your relationships, and your career, it's like you have these roots in order to expand through any challenges or conflicts that you face this week. And then, yeah, that could come to a head. There could be some breakthrough or clarity around that also comes up through a challenge or a conflict on Sunday. But I do feel like it will prompt a positive transformation, even if it feels emotionally tense and challenging in the moment on Sunday, Leo. So that's the week for you. Let me know how that resonates in the comments. Okay, Virgo, we start the week off with the moon in your third house. You could be feeling A little bit maybe, like, triggered earlier in the week. There could be a lot coming through about the need to assert yourself in new ways or really communicate boundaries in ways that maybe you've just held back from because of trauma or because of conditioning or whatever it is. There feels like, oh my god, there's so much deep subconscious transformation and healing happening for you, Virgo, right now, and it's really coming to a head this week. You might realize you have a lot of support through your relationships to do this, um, and to really go about this healing in a way that's actually helpful and supportive for you and your relationships. But there might be, there might be a real need for you, Virgo, to get out of your head about it and to really just like allow what the universe is showing you through people. There could be some big shift around that on Tuesday that really changes your, how you're viewing life, your philosophies, your perspective. And there could be like an integration of this clarity, an integration of this healing as well that comes through, maybe just suddenly or unexpectedly on Tuesday. And then on Wednesday, we have the moon moving into your fourth house. So you might just feel like harmony Wednesday and Thursday. There might be some tension or friction that happens on Thursday between your home and your career. Like you have to do something at your house, but there's like a lot going on at your house or something like that. And so there might just be a lot of like almost like you're in a pressure cooker on Thursday, but it's giving you clarity around like how you really want to move forward with your life, and maybe even like healing a lot of long-term visions or goals that you maybe never thought were possible for yourself, but you're starting to realize like, oh, I need to make this happen so that I can have, a better life, so that I can have more harmony with everything in my life. There might also later on Thursday be some conflict or challenge between somebody in your life, a relationship, or something like that. It could be, around what came up earlier in the week, around needing to really uh, act from the divine guidance that's coming in through the people in your life right now, because it is supporting your transformation, even if it feels like you're having to like really release a lot of comfortable patterns, habits, behaviors, things like that. And then on Friday, the moon moves into your fifth house. You could be feeling more creative. You could be more focused on passion projects, things like that. Mars is also going to move into your 12th house. So there could be something that came up end of November, early December. You could be getting more clarity around integrating like a new meditation or some spiritual practice that you really is starting to click with you. You're starting to feel a groove with that you maybe have, just struggled to stay on track with or something like that. It's really supporting this deep inner transformation that you're in, Virgo. So whatever this practice is or whatever this thing is that you're doing that helps you to feel better, like stick with it, because it's also going to transform how you're going about your work, maybe even how you're going about your own personal healing, how you're taking better care of yourself and your body, nurturing your body and your work and what you're doing in your career, because there's just so much expansion potential in your career, and everything is really is really supporting you in that. It's just about getting out of the head and really starting to take action and just see, like throwing spaghetti at the walls and seeing what sticks. That's really a big need for you to just start doing stuff like that this week, Virgo, and you're really going to realize that. Um, Maybe even as Taurus season begins too, that could be the big focus for you, is taking this action so that it does change how you're going about life, how you're seeing life, your perspective. And again, like what you thought was possible for yourself is changing too, and you're really realizing like you need to dream bigger or something like that. Um, and there could be something that comes to a head around that on Sunday as Mars um, is, or as the moon moves towards Pluto. It Before that, it will harmonize with Uranus. So there could be some big breakthrough around your creative ventures or projects on Sunday. But there could also be some friction that is challenging in the moment. Like, I mean, it's just the theme of this week. It's like challenges, harmony, challenges, harmony, challenges, harmony. And it's like, how do you make the most of all of these things? And how do you just, really act on and listen to the nudges that spirit is giving you versus like what your mind wants to come up with, right? So that's the week for you, Virgo. Let me know how that resonates in the comments. Okay, Libra. We start the week off on Monday with the moon in your second house. There could be a big focus on your money, how you're making money, reevaluating how you're going about making money, maybe in a lot more alignment with your passions, what you actually want to be doing. There could be, this really big push to create something new or share it with the world that comes to a head on Tuesday as the moon is harmonizing with Mars and everything that's in Pisces. There could be this, you could be launching something new, you could be sharing something new with the world that really pays off financially and you didn't really expect it to, but you acted on the intuitive insight or the intuitive idea to do it and it resulted in something positive, and it might give you more faith and belief in yourself and what you're doing to make money as well. Then on Wednesday, the moon moves into Sagittarius, into your third house. So you could be feeling more expressive, more communicative, more like sharing wisdom or content or anything like that. You could just be feeling a lot more expressive, maybe even more social on Wednesday as well. Thursday, you might get some clarity around some international pursuit or travel opportunity or long distance travel. Doesn't have to be international, but it could just be getting more clarity around somewhere you want to go that's not your normal city or town or state kind of thing. This could positively impact your work as well, even though it might feel like it causes challenge with your work. It could be ultimately something that ends up being an opportunity for growth or evolution there. That once you break through that challenging energy around it, you kind of see that it ultimately was a good thing. Then on Friday, the moon moves into your fourth house and Mars moves into your 11th house. So you could be really just feeling more creative, especially what you're sharing with your community or what you're sharing on social media. Things that maybe came up around the end of November or early December, you're feeling more clarity around. There could be harmony between a relationship in your life as well, whether that's a significant other, dating prospect, or just somebody in your life you feel like really gives you confidence and bravery to move forward in new ways. There's going to be some maybe tension and friction though on Friday in your home between a relationship. Like this could be, your landlord or somebody like that who, just kind of challenges you or it feels like emotionally frustrating. But thankfully, moon transits don't last long, so that will just, be a kind of mood. But that could be something that happens on Friday. And then we have Taurus season starting in your eighth house on Saturday. Um, and it is going to challenge Mars and Leo, and it's going to challenge Pluto and Aquarius, both in your fifth and 11th houses. So this could bring up, an idea around how you need to make money and something that is like, okay, something challenges you, something feels like a really big struggle, but it's like, okay, how do I make more money to help with this? Like it almost feels like, okay, I need to create more resources. I need to create more money for myself because it's going to help with this like challenge. It's going to help with this problem. Money doesn't solve all problems, but it solves a lot of problems. So you might be getting clarity around that this weekend, Libra, and how you want to go about doing that and creating that for yourself if that has been a kind of struggle or conflict. And then on Sunday, the moon harmonizes with Uranus in your eighth house. So there could be something positive that happens within your home situation. Something like getting more clarity about where you want to move or where you want to invest in real estate or something like that. Could be a positive thing between your investments, something to do with your resources that is positive, a positive change. That maybe was unexpected or sudden. And then when the moon moves over Pluto in your fifth house and opposes Mars later in the day on Sunday, there could be some emotional challenge with your energy. It's like, oh, I have all these ideas. I want to create this new thing, but I just don't have the energy right now. It almost is like this very big emotional transformation that could cause tiredness or just a lackluster energy. But you are getting clarity around what the ideas are. You might just not have the energy yet to act on them. That's not going to last very long, but that could be the theme of your Sunday. So that's the week for you, Libra. Let me know how that resonates with you in the comments. Okay, Scorpio, we start the week off with the moon in your first house. You could be feeling a lot more sensitive Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. You could be feeling just like there's a big emotional transformation happening. There could be something that really triggers you, especially on Tuesday. But ultimately, it does feel very healing for you. Um, around your, your sense of self that maybe has been going through an evolution, and you're a new creative project or something you're pursuing creatively, or that's a passion that maybe you invested in education around, or you've just been realizing like, oh, I need to see this differently, and then it's gonna like create a different reality for myself. There's a lot of harmony between all of that later in the day on Tuesday for you, Scorpio. And then the moon will move into your second house, putting the emphasis on your resources, your money, how you're making money. There might be new, places that you're traveling to in order to make money, or, getting a job in a different state or something like that. But it could just be you really realizing like, oh, I need to show up differently to have a different relationship with money in my life. I feel like there's just an emotional look at your resources Wednesday and Thursday. There could be something on Thursday that happens that triggers you to look more deeply at your resources, at your money, and how you're going about making it and what you're doing with it. Are you really putting it in places you want to be? Are you really making it in ways that you want to be? I feel like this has been a big theme for you, Scorpio, especially as we're going to have Mars go back into your 10th house. What was coming up for you end of November, early December in your career that you got more clarity around for most of December, that now it feels like is the time to take action on, that is really going to come to a head later this week, especially on Friday as we have Mars moving back into your 10th house. Then we have the moon moving into your third house on Friday. So there could be a focus on what you're creating, what you're sharing, what you're communicating. Maybe if this is a business venture, like really starting to take action towards doing it, putting it out into the world, maybe in a new way. Maybe you received a breakthrough or clarity around how to go about it that you're really acting on. Saturday, the sun moves into your 7th house. So that'll put a focus on your relationships, the other people you have in your life that are supporting you. Do your relationships feel supported? If not, they have to go, or you need to have a conversation with those people. There could be, friction between that and your career and your home life that, really needs a conversation around, or that there just needs to be something said about that. If it's been a recurring thing. But I feel like it's going to prompt a positive transformation. And then, yeah, I mean, whatever you're creating right now, just keep doing it, Scorpio. Keep doing it, because it is going to pay off. It might just take a little time for you to see that. And then Sunday, the moon, before the moon moves into Aquarius, it harmonizes with Uranus in your 7th house. So there could be some, if you do have this conversation with this person, there could be some sudden clarity, breakthrough, insight related to that is positive. And then when the moon moves over Pluto in your 4th house, it could transform some subconscious wound or family wound, childhood wound that maybe you didn't know was there, that's going to positively impact your career, even if it feels like when it comes up initially later in the day on Sunday, it negatively impacts your career. You might realize like, oh, I can actually like share this with my audience, or whatever it is, like bring this into my career somehow, to have more harmony between your inner transformation and your outer world. So that's the week for you, Scorpio. Let me know how it resonates in the comments. Okay, Sagittarius. We start the week off with the moon in your 12th house. So there could be a little bit of a need to hermit Monday and Tuesday, and just get, really go within and see what's there, what ideas or clarity are there for you to sort through, or, changes you maybe want to make to your routine, or changes you want to make to how you're going about your spiritual pursuits or spiritual practices. And then on Tuesday, there could be further clarity around that, breakthroughs, things of that nature. Let me see here. Sorry, I just want to. Okay. So on Tuesday, yeah, big breakthrough on Tuesday around what you're doing in your spiritual practices that are either nourishing you or not, and making changes so that it does feel nourishing to you. That could later in the day on Tuesday show up in your home life and show up in maybe your finances. Like if you've been wanting to make a move, there's like harmony between doing that, whether it's like having the funds or finding the right house or whatever it is. It feels like there's a lot of harmony between what came up earlier in the week and then taking action towards it later in the day on Tuesday. Wednesday, we have the moon moving into your first house because you might just be feeling yourself a little bit more Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. You might also be feeling more sensitive. There's a big focus, emotional focus on you on Wednesday. And then there's also just a lot of healing happening in terms of how you're sharing yourself and how you're sharing your creative gifts. And there's a big need to just, with all that's in Pisces, look at your home maybe in a different way. And then Mercury is going to move into your fifth house on Wednesday, boosting that creative passion or boosting that creativity, heightened intuition, or just getting ideas about ways you want to share yourself with the world. There could be friction on Thursday between yourself and another, whether it's like a relationship that feels like it maybe you realize, oh, this was actually draining me, like it was fun for a little bit, now it's draining me, kind of thing. It could be something as well that comes through about somebody that is like, oh, like your neighbor or something. I don't even, why am I getting this? This is so strange. But like your neighbor has been, I don't know, like rude to you or harassing you or something. You're like, oh, that's what maybe is like prompting you to make the move. But it's also a lot of other things. um, and there could be some friction around that on Friday. But with Mars moving back into Leo in your ninth house, it feels like you're really seeing life differently over the last when did it go retrograde? December. So that's been 4 or 5 months. You've been really reevaluating your mindset, your philosophies of life, what you're telling yourself, what you're believing, like your thought patterns. And so that feels like it's really integrated and you're no longer approaching these things that used to be challenging for you or used to be hard for you in the same way. You're approaching them as a new person and with a new perspective on life. And that's really benefiting this whole situation, and how you're going about it too. I also feel like it's supporting this creative venture, whatever it is, like whether you're making the move to be around more supportive or creative people, however that's showing up for you personally, Sagittarius. Let me know in the comments. And then Saturday through the weekend, there's really big emphasis on your finances. That could be some, friction, some tension that comes up on when would that be? Late on Friday that prompts you to look at your money beliefs or something like that. That's like, oh, maybe you've had a starving artist mentality and it's really time to reframe that. And you get clarity about how to reframe that and that it's needed in order to have like in order to fulfill the purpose that you're here to fulfill and the things that you're here to create and share with the world. And then on Sunday, the moon harmonizes in your second house with Uranus in your sixth house. So there could be some beneficial thing that comes through your work that brings in the funds to make that move or whatever it is to redecorate your home or whatever this is for you. It does feel like the funds are coming through over the weekend or maybe early next week. Um, and it's almost like an instant manifestation, Sagittarius. It's like you shifted your mindset around this thing and like the universe showed you like how impactful that is and how powerful that is. Maybe if you had maybe some doubts about it, the universe is like, nope, this is how it goes. Like here it is. There could be a big transformation around that later in the day on Sunday as well. And with Taurus season beginning in your sixth house on Saturday, there's a huge emphasis on what you're doing for work and how you're sharing yourself with the world, what you're doing on a daily basis to nurture your work and also nurture your physical self, your physical health. So that's going to be a big focus and emphasis of Taurus season for you, Sagittarius. So let me know how that all resonates with you because I got some really specific stuff there. Okay, Capricorn. We start the week off on Monday with the moon in your 11th house. You could be getting clarity around a social media venture or project, your long-term visions or goals that could come through your community, or like if you go to some meditation event or something. Maybe you went to one over the weekend and you're getting clarity about what you want to do, and maybe even like doing something like that, something that is a healing modality or something creative. You're getting more clarity about how you want to share, how you want to create it, and put it out to the world. On Tuesday, there could be some harmony between all that as well, like a beneficial person coming into your life that helps with it, or just feeling more like sharing yourself, and through that sharing yourself, there someone comes in to help you with this thing. Then on Wednesday, the moon moves into your 12th house, big focus on your spiritual pursuits. That's going to harmonize with whatever's going on in your home life, whether it's wanting to make a move happen or just having a healing conversation with a family member or something like that. There is harmony between those two areas of your life late on Tuesday and early in the day on Wednesday. It could benefit your money in some way as well. And then it feels like on Thursday, there's some friction or tension between your work and your spiritual pursuits. There could be a duel going on between your mental, analytical mind, and your intuition and like your physical body. So there could be something that comes up around that triggers clarity between your spiritual, mental, and actual physical health. On Friday, the moon challenges all that's in Pisces in your third house. So there could be some just challenging conversation that happens on Friday that you really have to like assert your boundaries around. That's been kind of a theme for the last 2 years. But with Mars moving into your eighth house, it does feel like that, the transformation you've been making and learning to embody is really going to stick. And it's really going to feel like more of a flow. It's going to feel more effortless. Whereas before you really had to like learn how to set boundaries and communicate yourself. Now you already know how to do it. And it's just about like trusting in yourself to be able to do it. There could be some big shift around your money on Friday as well, or through the weekend. As Taurus season begins on Saturday in your fifth house of creativity, there could be some new thing that you're creating, putting out into the world that positively impacts your finances. And as the moon moves through your first house, beginning later in the day on Friday, there could be just a emotional rejuvenation or an emotional inspiration to create that thing or share it with the world, put it out there, and it is going to positively impact your money situation and maybe benefit your community or your social media following, audience, or a long-term goal or vision, as the release of the kind of challenging energy that comes with that this weekend will come through your 11th house. And then Sunday, there's going to be a positive transformation that happens between your sense of self and your identity, again, what you're embodying through the work that you have been doing the past couple years, and maybe a creative pursuit or passion. There might also be a renewal of creativity. There might be a renewal of energy towards whatever this thing is and putting it out into the world. And then it feels like there's a positive, later in the day on Sunday, a positive transformation with your money, whether it's because you shared this thing and it brings in money for you or something like that. There might be challenges or conflicts with it, but it does feel ultimately like it will be positive. So let me know how that resonates with you, Capricorn. That is your week ahead. Okay, Aquarius. We start the week off on Monday with the moon in your 10th house. So there might be a big focus Monday and Tuesday on your career, what you're putting out into the world, your reputation. It might be at odds with your home life, especially on Tuesday. There could be a breakthrough around that, of a realization or an innovation, a sudden insight that you get around how to have more balance between your home and your work life. But it does feel like the big focus for you, Aquarius, is on your career. There could be some new opportunity coming in, or you're getting clarity on how to create a new opportunity for yourself. There's a lot of harmony between all aspects of your career, money, work. It might take some inspired action. It might take you doing something differently to bring it about, but it does feel really positive. And then Monday, the moon moves into your 11th house. The Mercury moves into your third house. They will harmonize with each other. So again, there could be like you taking action on that clarity you received earlier in the week, putting yourself out there, or sending an email to somebody, or communicating something to somebody that just kind of is like an inspired idea, and you're not really sure if it's going to work or not, but it will. And so don't doubt yourself, take action on it. I feel like it will heal you as well. There could be some friction on Thursday, Aquarius, between your long-term visions, your goals, and a creative project or children, however that resonates. Something that is a passion for you, something that is a project, a creative thing that has been feeling really expansive over the last year. There could be an emotional challenge that comes up through your community or social media, or something that kind of like puts tension on whatever the creative pursuit or passion or project is. but that won't last long, and it will ultimately give you clarity about changes you need to make that are going to be positive for that thing. Friday, there could be tension between your money and what you're doing in your community or towards your long-term goals, long-term visions. It's like it's almost like if you don't act on what your intuition is telling you, Aquarius, earlier in the week, like it's not gonna be like the week's gonna go kind of it's gonna be challenging for you. If you don't act on those intuitive insights or ideas, the week might be more challenging than it needs to be. And it's really just like the universe giving you an opportunity to do something differently and to take that, to really listen to your intuition and act on it, even if it seems like crazy. But it will bring about a positive change in your finances if you do act on it. There might be something that supports you in having that transformation through the weekend as Mars moves into your seventh house and challenges the sun in your fourth house in Taurus as we begin Taurus season on Saturday. The release of this tension though is in your career. So it might be like you really need to go through a sense of a transformation within yourself that a relationship or somebody in your life mirrors to you. That might also bring up challenges or conflicts within your home life or subconscious childhood trauma or belief or something. But it does feel like it's ultimately going to benefit your career, even if it feels challenging between you, relationships, and your home. It's like, okay, how can you release the tension of that conflict or challenge in your career, make the change that's needed there. The weekend too will also have the moon and Capricorn moving through your 12th house, your area of spirituality. So you might be getting a lot of just stuff coming up that you maybe didn't realize was still affecting you, like memories from childhood or memories from, earlier in your career or something like that, that are showing you the kind of change that needs to happen there. There could be a big breakthrough around that early on Sunday as the moon harmonizes with Uranus, and Taurus season really puts a focus on your subconscious wounds or beliefs passed down through your family or something like that. And then the moon will move over Pluto in your first house or later in the day on Sunday and really give you this rejuvenation energy, this renewal energy through whatever was coming up all week. It feels like the transformation was building and the finale of it comes later in the day on Sunday. So that is the week for you, Aquarius. Let me know how that resonates. Okay, Pisces. We start the week off with the moon in your ninth house. There could be something you're getting clarity around as it relates to a long distance trip or a course you're investing in, or just your perspective of life, your philosophies of life are going through a big transformation, a big healing, and that's changing how you're showing up in the world. That's changing how you're sharing your creative gifts with the world, maybe really stepping into more of a spiritual role in whatever you're doing. And then there could be a breakthrough on Tuesday around that prompts you to just change how you're talking about things, change your communication style, or put something new, communicate something new that is like a sudden breakthrough insight to the world. Wednesday, we have Mercury moving into your second house and the moon into your 10th house. So there could be something positive that you did in your career, that you changed, or that you launched, or that you created and shared with the world. That's going to positively impact your not only your career but also your finances and really solidify in this new sense of self that you've been stepping into, Pisces. Thursday, there might be tension between a limiting belief or subconscious wound from childhood or something like that, maybe even with your family or in your home and your career. This could just add some tension to what you just launched or what you just created, but it's not going to last very long. Then on Friday, that tension isn't going to last very long, is what I meant. Friday, we have a challenging aspect between this could bring up more in your career that just feels challenging, that really challenges that new sense of self you've been building, Pisces. There could be something that happens at work or happens in your career that challenges you and challenges your boundaries. And it's really just kind of a final test, so to speak, of like, are you really are you really secure in this? Are you really like dedicated to this path or not? It could really heal something about money in your life as well. And then on Saturday, the moon moves into your 11th house. We have Mars in your 6th house now. We start Taurus season on Saturday, moves into your 3rd house. So there could be friction between your communication, but it's like you already have these boundaries in place, so don't forget them. There could be something too that comes up in your subconscious wound, or something that happens with your physical health that's like, oh, I really need to be more dedicated with this thing. I really need to. There could be a really big lack of energy this weekend as Mars opposes Pluto. And maybe you're realizing like, oh, I really need to get back on my meditation, or I really need to get back to yoga because that helped me feel better. There's just some kind of realization that comes around that through a maybe challenge, like you know you have a Charlie horse or a muscle tightens up or something, you're like, oh yeah, I can't ignore this kind of thing. Then on Sunday, the moon harmonizes with Uranus and Taurus in your 3rd house, as it also challenges Chiron in your 2nd house. So there could be some tension or friction between your money and how you're making it, but it is going to bring about like sudden insight or clarity or idea around what you are putting out there into the world, and maybe just fine tuning things, or shifting how you're talking about things, and really doing it from this embodied place, because you really stepped into a new sense of self, especially with those retrogrades, Pisces, and then going direct. There's this really big new identity emerging in you, and so that's going to come through in everything that you're doing, and ultimately positively impact everything that you're doing. It's just about believing in that, believing in the process. There could be some big transformation as well later in the day on Sunday related to what came up maybe Friday or Saturday, again, related to maybe needing to do yoga or get back to meditation or something like that. Um, so yeah, that's the week for you, Pisces. Let me know how it resonates in the comments. And that is everybody. Thank you for being here and watching another weekly horoscope. I appreciate you. Hey, Tori. I'm glad that resonated with you. Um, so yeah, let me know how your horoscope resonated with you in the comments. And I will see you all next week. Bye.